What's up everyone, MeGP2 here, and in today's video I have my level 50 best buddied Ultra League Lopunny that is running double nuke moves. Now the thing I like about being able to run both Hyper Beam and Focus Blast is that unless the Pokemon is a ghost type, you can hit for at least neutral with one of the nuke moves. So thankfully, as long as they're not a ghost type, there is a nuke move that will be able to hit for neutral or super effective. Which is what I do like about having both a fighting type and a normal type move. Because, well, both Steel and Rock do resist the normal type, fighting can hit both of them for super effective, so Focus Blast can still hit them. So it does mean that only Ghost type walls it. Now, this thing is a lot of fun, and the other thing I do like about it is that it can run Triple Axle as well, and being able to boost Hyper Beam is just so funny. Like, it's nice because Lopunny, it has some okay bulk in the Ultra League, so it is actually usually able to make it to multiple moves, so you can actually make it to a boosted Hyper Beam. Whereas some Pokemon that can boost their nuke moves just have trouble doing that. So that's why I do like running Lopunny if I want to land boosted nuke moves. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Let's get into the battles. Alright, so in the first battle we lead Altaria into Talonflame. Now this is a pretty good lead, because they have to go for a fly to land any significant damage, and most Talonflames do bait. I also believe that Altaria will tank 2 flies, like even with the Incinerate damage. It would probably get farmed down, but either way it's fine. We actually do grab a shield with the Sky Attack. The thing about Altaria that I like is that this thing still will tank a boosted fly, and we will be able to make it to another Sky Attack. So this Sky Attack should come pretty close to taking them out. Sky Attack number 2 actually grabs the second shield, and that's perfect. Now I send in Lopunny because I don't want to be taking the super effective boosted Incinerates, but at the same time I'd really not like to have to try and farm them all the way down, but thankfully they switch out into a Machamp. Now, we have Hyper Beam. Machamp is a bit glassy, and so Hyper Beam just takes him out. Now, they send back in the Talonflame, and I'm just going to catch the next move, because I'm pretty sure they're going for a Flame Charge, but Steelix tanks that. Now, I actually want them to go for another Flame Charge to take me out, because now they are in range that like 1 or 2 double kicks will take them out, so we will be able to just get a nice farm down. In the back, they have Empoleon, and it's Focus Blast time. Focus Blast rocks the Empoleon, and we're able to get the farm down, and we leave with 1 HP. And I'm pretty sure the best buddy bonus is what won that game for us. We lead Altaria into Greninja in the next battle. This is a very good lead. And the opponent is just going to go for Night Slash. Night Slash doesn't get the boost, and the opponent sends in Ampharos. Now they're farming up, and that does make me nervous that they're running Focus Blast, but thankfully Steelix really does not care too much. They still need to go for another move, even if they land a Focus Blast, which is why I think Steelix is nice. I do not run Breaking Swipe on Steelix though, because I don't like how inconsistent it is now. And the opponent goes for a Brutal Swing, but I can shield it. And I'll be able to make it to 2 crunches before they're able to make it to another move, so I expect them to let that go. They do, and then they come in with Cobalion. Now, Cobalion is just like every single team I build is like almost always core broken by this thing. But with Lopunny, I should be able to land a Focus Blast on it. I do need to get rid of their shield though, and I'm thinking I can probably get the shield by throwing a Sky Attack in this Greninja, because if they shield this, I can just get a bit more farm, and then farm down with Lopunny, and I'll leave with a Focus Blast to throw into the Cobalion. They throw a move here, and that's perfect. Now I can switch into Lopunny, and they're basically Energy Dry. If the Cobalion has a move, I think that'll do more damage than any move from the Greninja. So, they do have a move, but I can shield this now, and this super effective Sacred Sword would probably do the most damage. But now I make it to a Focus Blast, and Cobalion's pretty bulky, but Focus Blast takes him out nonetheless, and we're able to take that game. We lead Altaria into Poliwrath in the next battle, and Poliwrath is kind of a core breaker for this team, because Counter hits my backline for super effective, and Ice Wind hits Altaria for super effective. This opponent is running Mud Shot and Ice Punch though, so it really looks like someone did not get the Season 17 move update, so it works for me, but still kind of confusing. Now, I am fine letting this move go. It actually doesn't take out Altaria, and I just switch out into Lopunny. Now, I am going to be shielding because if they're running Dynamic Punch, will do a lot of damage. They are. Now I'm going to farm up, and I'm going to go for a Focus Blast, because it's slightly cheaper, and it will get the KO from this one. The opponent actually does shield it, though. And now they're going to be going for a move, and I am actually going to shield in return as well, because Dynamic Punch would still do a lot of damage. They make it to another Dynamic Punch, though, and that's the thing about Mud Shot, is that it is a lot faster energy generation. The opponent then sends in an Alolan Muck, and we do have Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam does a ton of damage, and now we're going to be able to switch into Steelix. And hopefully they don't Acid Spray, because that would just not be good. And they just go for the Dark Pulse. They will make it to another move, I believe, and they do. But Steelix will tank this, and it really just depends what they have in the back. We get a farm down. The opponent, I'm expecting them to send back in the Poliwrath just to try and get some damage off. But they don't. They actually just send in a Scissor. Now, I need a perfect catch to win this game, basically. And it still might not even be possible. So I am going to go for Crunch. Crunch with a debuff does a lot of damage, and I need a perfect catch here, and I get it. I was hoping I caught a Trailblaze, because I think they farmed up to it, but they only went for a Night Slash. And by only going for a Night Slash, I do think that just loses the game for us. Now, they would win CMP, so I do throw. I do not throw. And then I get farmed down, because the game lags. Now, I don't think it would have mattered, because Poliwrath just farms down my team, but we do lose that game. We lead Altaria into Cresselia in the next battle. And Cresselia is not ideal for Altaria, so I do try and catch the Moonblast. The opponent doesn't throw, but they actually throw into Steelix, which is fine. Grass Knot does virtually nothing, and then the opponent tries to catch a move onto a Nidoqueen. Now, Nidoqueen is going to be hit for super effective by these Psychic Fangs, but 2 Psychic Fangs won't take them out. It will get them like pretty close to the yellow, but it's not going to take them out. Now, they can go for an Earth Power here, but the thing about Steelix is Steelix will still tank an Earth Power pretty well. Now, I'm going to make it to another Psychic Fangs, and this opponent, they really shouldn't be shielding, and they don't because they're not getting switch advantage, and they then send in Blaziken. Now, I'm immediately switching into Altaria, and this does not look good because Cresselia can pretty easily take care of Altaria, and Blaziken can easily take care of Lopunny. They throw the Brave Bird and then switch, and then they send in Cresselia. The thing about Altaria is, we live that Grass Knot. That's why I love Altaria. The thing's just so amazingly bulky. We can make it to a Moonblast. Moonblast does not do enough damage, unfortunately. But I'm going to send in Steelix, and I'm hoping I can just leave with the Psychic Fangs. Because if I have a Psychic Fangs, hopefully it means the opponent won't shield any move I throw into the Blaziken, because they think that Psychic Fangs will do the most damage. Now, the opponent will make it to another move here. I can't expend a shield, because I don't want the Blaziken to be able to make it to a move. They go for the Future Sight, it does a lot of damage, and they send in the Blaziken. I have 1 win con here, and they actually no-shield it, and we're actually able to take that game on the simultaneous KO, but we had the Steelix, so we take that game. We lead Altaria into Landorus in the next battle. The opponent immediately switches out into a Armored Mewtwo, and, well, the thing about Armored Mewtwo is that they did buff Iron Tail this season, and Armored Mewtwo, I believe, learns that, so I wanted to try that. I just don't have an Armored Mewtwo. But the opponent, they have one, and they're going to be going for a Dynamic Punch. It's unfortunate, but the thing about Steelix is we'll probably still tank another Dynamic Punch. They didn't even have it, though. We're going to be able to go for another Crunch. This Crunch will take out the Mewtwo, and then the opponent, I expect them to send back in the Landorus, and they do. Now, we're going to be able to go for a Psychic Fangs into the Landorus. No real reason for them to shield that, but if I make it to another one, that would get them pretty low. So I'm not going to be surprised if they shield. They do shield, we get farmed down, we send in Altaria. Now they're going to go for a move here. We do live a Stone Edge, so I'm not shielding, but they actually go for the Sandsphere Storm. They then send in Tapu Fini, and Tapu Fini beats both Altaria and Steelix, so this is the best spot to see it, even if it does resist double kicks. Moonblast doesn't get a debuff, thankfully, and we will be able to make it to plenty of Hyper Beams. They can shield the first one, but another Hyper Beam will actually do a ton of damage on the Tapu Fini. Now I'm going to be shielding because I do think Moonblast would get pretty close to taking us out. They only go for the Surf though, and we're going to be able to make it to another Hyper Beam. Tapu Fini has some okay bulk, but Lopunny just able to rock the Tapu Fini. We switch into Altaria, we get the Snipe, the opponent sends back in the Landorus, and they concede the match, so I guess they weren't running Stone Edge? Who knows? We lead Altaria into Giratina, altered in the next battle, and the opponent tries to catch on to Skeledirge. The thing about them switching into Skeleturge is I have to stay in. Steelix can handle Giratina, but my backline does not like to see Skeleturge. Now the opponent is trying to farm to 100 energy, but I'm able to make it to another Sky Attack, so I do get a shield here. Now they're going to throw a move, but the thing about Altaria is it does tank one Disarming Voice. Now they're going to farm up, and they're going to go for another Disarming Voice, so I am going to catch it onto Steelix. They should be able to make it to one more Shadow Ball after this, but Steelix will tank it. I am kind of nervous about it being a flamethrower, but I did decide not to shield it. We get the nice farm down, and the opponent is going to actually send in a Venusaur. Now, Venusaur, it would be nice for Altaria to see it, but Altaria is pretty low. On the bright side, Steelix can hit for super effective damage with Psychic Fangs, and the opponent throws on alignment, so I get a free Dragon Tail. They go with a Frenzy Plant, and I'm going to make it a back-to-back Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs number 1 doesn't get the knockout, but we're actually able to switch into Altaria and get the Snipe. The opponent then sends in Giratina, and they concede the match. I don't know why, but that game was definitely not over, but I guess we'll take it. We lead Altaria into Charizard in the next battle, and Altaria into Charizard. Despite Charizard having the super effective Dragon Claw, we are able to actually beat Charizard in the zeros. As soon as shields start getting expended, Altaria loses, but Altaria's significant bulk just means in the zero shield it does very well with Charizard. They can go for a second Dragon Claw here. Dragon Claw will not take us out, but they actually go for the Blast Burn. That still doesn't take us out, but it does slightly more. They then send in Decidueye, and I'm going to go for a Moonblast. Now, I know Sky Attack's super effective, but they're pretty obviously shielding, and Moonblast can fish for a debuff, so that's what I was trying for. I have to send in Steelix because Lopunny is hard-walled by Decidueye, and they go for a Frenzy Plant. We can tank the second one, but I am hoping to be able to just Psychic Fangs and either farm down or go for another one. Now, the opponent is going to go for another move here. I do decide to shield because Frenzy Plant would get me pretty low. And this does mean that I'll be able to make it to another Psychic Fangs. And if the opponent shields, then maybe I can switch out into Lopunny, and they do shield. Now, I am fine with just letting Steelix go down here, because Lopunny will get some very nice farm off of this Decidueye. Because while Double Kick is double resisted, we actually do just get a full farm down. In the back, it's Giratina, but it's a Giratina Origin. And Giratina Origin usually runs a triple Ghost moveset. So as long as they're not running Dragon Pulse, we can actually win this. Oh. The opponent is running Dragon Pulse, and I still need to make it to 2 more Hyper Beams here if I want to have a chance of winning. Hyper Beam number 2 does get the Giratina pretty close to the red, and the opponent's farming up a lot. Now, Ominous Wind would take Southern's range, but the opponent misplays and throws a Dragon Pulse. We're actually able to make it to another Hyper Beam, and because of that misplay, we're actually able to take them out, and we're actually able to take that game. We lead Altaria into Virizion in the next battle. Absolutely dominant lead. Even if they're running Stone Edge, we tank it, and Sky Attack basically one-shots Virizion. So even if this is a Stone Edge, Altaria is fine. It is a Stone Edge, doesn't even get us into the red. The opponent tries to catch onto Shadow Lugia. Very cool pick from the opponent, but on the bright side, Steelix is just going to shut down Lugia. Unless they're running Hydro Pump. If they're running Hydro Pump, they deserve Switch Advantage, but I doubt they are. They do go for an Aeroblast. Aeroblast does a lot of damage, but Steelix should be able to just farm up right until before they make it to the Sky Attack. We'll be able to go for a Crunch. Crunch will take them out. The opponent sends back in the Virizion. Now, I'll be able to make it to a Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs still won't do much despite being super effective, but it does mean that Dragon Breath will do more damage, I believe, so it is a good thing to get. Now, I can send in Altaria, and the opponent immediately switches out into Gengar. And Gengar, as long as they're not running Sludge Bomb, then it's basically just a battle of double resisted damage. They are looking like they're running double nukes. Sorry, not double nukes, double Ghost. And they concede the match. That match was definitely not over either. I don't know why they were conceding, but whatever. Next battle, Altaria into Typhlosion. Opponent switches out into Alolan Muck. They're running Poison Jab. And Steelix just completely shuts this thing down. They go for a Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse does some nice damage, but Steelix extremely bulky, so it's fine. Now they're going to go for another Dark Pulse as soon as they get it, I presume, but not before we're able to make it to another Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs will do some okay damage, but the defense debuff is really what we're looking for. Hopefully we can actually just farm them down here, because they are not going to be able to make it to another Dark Pulse, and they can send back in the Typhlosion. but I'll be able to make it to 3 Psychic Fangs before they're able to get a farm down. They're going to go for the Incinerate farm down, but I actually decided to go for the Crunch, because I was worried the next Incinerate would take out Steelix, and it does, so going for the Crunch was probably the right idea. In the back, they have Shadow Snorlax, and Lopunny just shuts this thing down. Superpower doesn't one-shot, and Lick will never farm us down, so I am fine with no shielding, and they do bait. Now, I'll be going for the Focus Blast here, and Focus Blast takes out the Snorlax, and the opponent is going to go for a move. I can let it go. Blast Burn takes out Lopunny, but Altaria is way too tanky, and we just get the full farm down, and we're able to take that game. In the next battle, we lead Altaria into Cobalion. Once again, Cobalion is a pretty big core breaker to this team, which is unfortunate, but it's kind of hard to build a team that doesn't have core breakers, so I just had to deal with it. They go for the Stone Edge. On the bright side, Stone Edge does not take out Altaria, and we're going to be able to go for a Moonblast. Moonblast does some nice damage, and the opponent is going to have to go for a Stone Edge here if they want to take us out. The thing about Altaria is Sacred Sword still doesn't take us out, so we can actually pressure a shield from this pretty bad matchup. We're able to go for a Sky Attack. Sky Attack does grab the shield, and I'm thinking Lopunny might be able to farm down. They are at the back-to-back Sacred Swords, so I will let one through. They can go for another one, and the thing about this is I can actually shield this one, and I will be able to just get a full farm down. This energy will probably be pretty useful. The opponent sends in Charizard, and it's time. Are they going to respect this move? Nope. Hyper Beam does so much damage to Charizard, and I can probably just switch into Steelix and get a couple extra Dragon Tails. The opponent has Trevenant in the back, and this game's over. Like, the thing about Lopunny is that I'm glad they didn't bring in the Trevenant, because they probably thought I was running Triple Axle or Fire Punch, so just the threat of me having that move made them not want to bring Trevenant in, which is why I think that double nukes Lopunny can be fun, because the opponent could still expect you to be running an Ice-type move, so they actually didn't even bring in the Ghost-type there. And that means Steelix is able to take care of the Trevenant, and the Charizard will make it to a move, even if it's a Blast Burn, Lopunny farms down, but Dragon Tail gets the farm down, and we're able to take that game. We lead Altaria into Ampharos in the next battle. Now, Ampharos, it's a pretty good matchup for Altaria, because Altaria can do pretty well with the Moonblast damage. The opponent sends in Gyarados. Now, Steelix is my best response, and Aqua Tail from Gyarados does some pretty okay damage, but Steelix able to tank it, and the opponent is actually going to shield the Psychic Phase. Now, they're going to be going for a move here. If they committed a shield, I'm perfectly comfortable with committing one of my own, so now Steelix will make it to a Crunch. I can overfarm by 1 though, and now this Crunch should be able to take him out. Crunch gets the knockout, and the opponent sends in Venusaur. Now, Venusaur is going to be taking super effective from Psychic Fangs, but the first one won't do too much. Now, the opponent does have to throw to try and take me out, so we're going to catch it. Now, Frenzy Plant, going to do very little to Altaria. The opponent sends back in the Ampharos, but the Ampharos does not have too much it can do anymore, because Thunder Punch will not take us out, and they really can't get a farm down without me making it to another Sky Attack. The opponent can shield the Moonblast, but they do have to throw. This Thunder Punch will take out Altaria, and I can send in Steelix, and I can just go for Psychic Fangs here, and now the Ampharos does have to throw to take me out, but I'm just going to be able to switch into Lopunny, and Lopunny can go for a full farm down here. I'm going to shield in case it is a Focus Blast. It is the Focus Blast, and the opponent sends in Venusaur, but we have a Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam, we've seen it. It will take out the Venusaur. And the opponent, they have the Ampharos, but Ampharos not able to get a farm down or anything, and we're able to take that game. Next battle, and we lead Altaria into Giratina. Now, this is still not a good matchup, even though we hit for super effective with our fast move and they don't. Shadow Claw is such a good move with that when paired with Dragon Claw, Giratina can just win. They always will outpace us by, I think, 1 singular turn to back-to-back Dragon Claws, but I'm going to actually be baiting here. Sometimes the Giratinas do shield, and this time they do. So now, they can try for a farm down. We'll be able to make it to a Sky Attack. Now, this Sky Attack wouldn't take them out, but most Giratinas don't know that. So we're actually able to pull both shields. Now, that's perfect because Steelix does not need the shields, but Lopunny can use them. The opponent goes for a Shadow Force. Doesn't do too much to Steelix though, and they're going to be able to make it to a Dragon Claw, but Dragon Claw not going to be doing much of anything to Steelix. They get a far down. The opponent sends in Poliwrath, though, and that's not good. Fortunately, Steelix will be able to make it to 3 Psychic Fangs, I believe, before we get farmed down. So the opponent might try and switch out or something. They do try and catch the Psychic Fangs, but I'm able to send in Lopunny. Now, the thing about this is, if they can go for a Crunch and get a debuff, then the Poison Jabs will do a lot of damage. And they do get the debuff. Now, I need to go for a Focus Blast and undercharge it enough that I can leave with another Focus Blast thrown to the Poliwrath. The opponent makes it to a move, and I have to commit my second shield here. And the Poliwrath, I do believe, either has a move or can get the farm down. They do have the Scald, and them switching out to reset the debuff will win them this game because I can go for the Psychic Fangs, but because they're not debuffed anymore, it won't take them out, and we do lose that game. Hopping into a bonus battle, and we lead Altaria into Shiny Articuno. Articuno's pretty bulky, so I'm immediately going to send in Lopunny. The opponent switches into Shiftry. Now, I am running Triple Axle here, and this is because I really want to showcase just how much damage Hyper Beam can do when it's boosted. The opponent's going to go for a move. They go for a Leaf Blade. Does a lot of damage, but because we have a slight energy advantage and we have another shield, we can actually just farm them all the way down if we can get another shield with a Triple Axle. So if they shield this, we can just farm them down. They do shield it, and now these double kicks are pretty much just going to be able to fully farm them down. They go for a Leaf Blade, and then they send back in the Articuno. And it's Hyper Beam time. This is double boosted. And look at this damage. Hyper Beam one-shots the Articuno. The opponent sends in Swampert, but Lopunny is not done. We're able to make it to a Triple Axle, and this game's just over. We can switch into Altaria, and there's just nothing they can do. Swampert can land a move, but Altaria will tank it, and the Shiftry just can't do much of anything either, and they concede the match. Overall, Lopunny is a lot of fun to run. It's a normal type with a pretty nice energy generation, and its access to nuke moves just make it very fun to use. Of course, it doesn't even hit the combat power cap for the Ultra League, so having the Best Buddy boost is also nice, because I do think it actually did let me win a few matchups, but also, Steelix and Altaria were able to do very well. Now, I don't like having my backline double weak to counter, but I did try some other teams, and this one was the best out of the couple that I tried, so it was this team that I had to pick. Now, I might make another video showing just how much damage boosted Hyper Beams can do, but for now, I did want to show just what the double nukes can do as long as Lopunny isn't aligned against a Ghost. Anyways, that's going to be pretty much it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.